Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's always an absolute pleasure to have an opportunity to share with you on this Saturday morning. Well, for us, morning on the East Coast in Toronto, Canada. That's where Tammy are from. And during the winter, we don't do winters. We live in Daytona Beach, Florida. So, folks, before we begin, just want to welcome all of you here. Let's see here. We have Health and Business from Pakistan. May I attend this training, please? Absolutely. Everybody is welcome. We want to help you grow wherever you are in the world. Guylaine, bienvenue. C'est un plaisir de vous avoir. Lou, how are you? Great to have you here. Let's see here. We have Urban from Thailand. This is beautiful. You know, my daughter absolutely loves Thailand. She just mentioned to me that I think she wants to go and live there. I know it's a beautiful, beautiful place. Love the elephants. Let's see here. Let's see. We have Robert, Rockstar. Great to have you here. Thank you for being here. We have Brees from Melbourne, Australia, down under. This is absolutely beautiful country. It's such a. Remember, Tammy, when we went there for I think it was 2014.
Fabulous time.
We did all the major cities in 8 days. It was like woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning for the next flight, and then we got there. We started training and so forth. We came back, and the next thing you know, we're back in the morning at 5 a.m. for another flight. It was just very intense. Anyway, so we loved it.
We had a great time.
And we have here Renee. Great to have you here. We have Marin from South Africa. Awesome. Great to have you here. We have Ezekiel from Birmingham. Birmingham. Did I pronounce that right? Welcome, welcome. We have Sherry here from Toronto. We're neighbors. Great to have you here. We have Lady Lydian, great from Ghana. Great to have you here. We have Andrew from Toronto, neighbor also. Let's see. We have Free to Join Biz Idea from Montreal. Oh, great to have you here. Actually, I was born in Montreal. In fact, in a suburb. Really interesting, right? Let's see here. We have Izimbia. We're from Ghana. Great to have you here. Anyone from Ghana? Welcome, welcome. Veronique from Wisconsin. Great to have you here. Hey, Anne, how are you? From Kingston, Ontario. Let's see here. We have Francis from Ghana. We have David from Redding, California. Let's see. Let's keep going here. We have Nancy. Glad to be here. Great to have you here. Let's see here. We have Donald from United Kingdom. Great to have you here. We have Telma. Good morning.
Telma. You don't do the H.
Oh, yeah. It's the French. Just blame it on the French. I apologize for that. Leah, welcome from Belgium. Great to have you here. We have Raymond from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Great to have you here. We have Johnny from Ghana. We have Larry from San Antonio, Texas. You're not too far from the office, right? Let's see here. We have Nancy from Indiana. Great to have you here. We have John from Ghana. We have Sina from Ghana. And we have Kern from New York. Great to have you here. So let me share my screen here so we can have some stuff to present to you guys. And one thing that I want to share with you folks is, as you know, we've done 3 segments. I'm going to point you to where you can go and access all of those trainings if you've missed them. This is the last segment of the 4 segments we started with, recruiting 10 in 30 days. And then we did the first 10 days. We did the second 10 days. And now we're doing the third 10 days. And we're doing this obviously before the days are on or off or completed, because we want you to prepare for the next segment. So let me just kind of change slide here. And this is our board, okay? And this is pointing to where all the past recordings are. They're all here, okay? And you'll probably also notice that on the right-hand side here, it's the August Rush campaign. All 4 trainings are here. How to recruit 10 in 30 days, first 10 days, second 10 days, and the third 10 days, which obviously this is the one we're doing live as we speak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to put it right here for you to have access to. I know we have about a 10-second delay here, but this is the board. I highly, highly, highly recommend for you to go back and listen to those trainings, because it will give you a context. And here's the good news is this is the month of August. As you know, we have cash incentives that God Backup is offering and all of these. But you see, folks, that I know Joel is known for, kind of putting out some cash incentives on a regular basis. You understand that you can start these 10 and 30 days every single month with new people. You can organize that within your own organization. And if you don't know how to go about it, use our trainings as a guidelines to do your own trainings and your own recruit 10 and 30 days. This is what we recommend. That's what Tammy and I have been dedicated our time and our lives in our business, in a network marketing arena in doing. And it's one of the reasons why we've had so much success in this business. And here we are and got back up and repeating again. So, folks, success leaves clues. And the trainings we're giving you here are basic principles to give you the guidelines, a map that you can choose. But you do need to show up for class. You do need to do your homework, and you do need to get to work, right? This is not going to go just by sitting back and hoping for this to work, right? So you do need to get to work. So, Tammy, so let's begin. Back to you.
Awesome. Okay, so Chris,
You
I
know what,
believe you're
Tammy? That was
starting
my
with this
slide.
slide. Yeah. He's throwing me off this morning.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Okay, so
I'm
here's
like, are we
here's
off separating or anyways, all
yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's all good. So what's happening here, folks, is what we did here is we're focusing on a closing on the onboarding guide. Okay. So what we're going to be covering here today, Tammy's going to do a bit of a recap here, but what we're going to covering today is the art of closing. And then the closing techniques. We might give you some examples, but really we're giving you some theory so you can create your own scripts and your own approaches, but we're going to give you some guidelines. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about today. In the same time is when people start, here's something that's missing that most people don't do is to help new recruits get started. It's important to recruit them, but that's not the end of the journey. That's the beginning of the journey. The next step is get them started right to make sure that they are in line for success. This is one of the reasons why you will find that some of the people that have been mentored by what we teach, you'll notice that there seem to be the one that are hitting the diamond ranks and up. It is because of that strategy that we're going to be sharing with you here and getting people started right. Now, Tammy, back to you.
Yeah, so a recap here on where we're at in the process is the key steps in the first 20 days, and we're day 17 right now, so we're still in that stage, right? Where we're laying the groundwork, and the groundwork is recruitment. It's bringing new people into the business and creating momentum by bringing many people in that qualifying 30 days. And you're not limited to 10. I know people who are running with this and doing much more. And some people are creating 20 in their teams. They're creating excitement around 20 or 30. Let's just run with it and make it happen. It's exciting to see what's happening because there's a lot of new ranks. And congratulations for those who are increasing their ranks in this, and also becoming copper and duplicating coppers, because that's what it's all about. And effective follow-up, which is absolutely critical. You know, not enough people follow through with their follow-ups, and that's why they don't get results. And then often down the road, they may see somebody that was on their list that they actually contacted that are in the business with somebody else. Well, don't cry, because if you don't have a good follow-up system, then you lose them. Right? It's all about follow up, follow through, and in that process, as we really expressed last session, is the importance of building strong relationships, because network marketing is about community. It's about we build a community of helping people get to the next level, and people want to be part of communities like that. So that's also part of your closing, right? Because people want to be part of a group that's evolving and growing, and there's excitement and there's momentum. All right. So and team success stories. Right now, there's so many in the platform. Leverage those. In the Facebook group, the Got Back Up Facebook group, you're seeing all these people reaching levels right now, high levels too, which is super exciting. Leverage these stories, even if you didn't bring them in or they're not in your team. Leverage these stories to bring people into the business. Okay, so these are the things you want to be doing to help your organization grow. And now we're kind of talking about the closing part of it and the onboarding strategy. The final phase is to integrate those new people who just got started into the training. Getting focused on their goals, their strategy on getting to their next level. So if you're bringing new people in right now, and we're 17 days into the campaign, we'll get them totally focusing on the recruiting aspect, right? And get them to bring as many people as they can from now till the 30th. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about today, is how to get the closes within the people that you're following up with right now in your process, and how do we get them started and engage them in the campaign even though we're 17 days in, and getting them started right.
Totally agree. So now the art of closing, folks. Now we're going to give you some concepts, and Tammy was right on here. The moment we enroll a new person, or we have our leadership that are enrolling a new person, it's important that you understand the process of the closing. You know, often what's happening is folks are having a hard time making the sale. They're shy, and there's ways to go around that by making them feel like they're making the decision, and you not pushing. And it's really based on the conversation, the interest, the understanding. And then from there, in your conversation, is to get some kind of a commitment to get started while building the relationship. So it's important to transition, right? So you want to shift from the presentation to the closing. And folks, this is something that really works with your mindset. What you think about expands. And if you feel that people are not going to sign up because this issue is going on, that issue is going on, this is happening here, blah, 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 whatever, and you're dwelling in this negativity pool, it comes across in your body language. It comes across in your verbiage. It comes across in your posture. So what's happening, it's very important to stay positive, because I tell you one thing, folks, whatever problem is there, always eventually will get resolved. And the people that focus on the solution opposed to the problem tends to be the people that are kind of in a better position financially. So transitioning focus from presenting to the closing, and create a sense of urgency by highlighting the value of what they're getting. And also by taking advantage of some of the cash incentives that are here. They're not here forever. Yes, they might be another month where they might be there, but take advantage of it now. And that's kind of the mindset that you want. You want to transition the focus from the presentation mode to the closing mode, because that's when the real work begins. And on part two, Tammy will expand on that a little bit. In the process, folks, what's very important, people do business with you really because they trust you. They feel they know you. And in the process, they like you. And I know you know this. This is not new. This is the difference between the affiliate world, and nothing wrong with the affiliate world. But the affiliate world goes to the next shiny things. You couldn't care if you live or die. I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying it's not what the interest is. Make the sell and move on. It's like you're going to the store, they make the sell, they sell their shoes, they sell whatever, and then you're gone out of their lives. Well, in a network marketing, it's a different community, right? We build a community. We build an ecosystem. And that's where the trust is very important. And as you're building the trust, the credibility strengthens. And then you'll find that will help you, initiate the close. It's very, very important. And the people that I know that Tammy and I work with have a strong relationship with the people that we enroll. And they know they can count on us no matter what. That's the kind of feeling that you want people to have. And I'm not saying that all of this is going to happen just because I'm telling you. I'm telling you these things so you're starting to kind of work your mindset towards those approaches, and be aware of those this knowledge to help you convert. This is the reason why some of us are doing so well in this business. Often we hear the people at the top are cashing in. This is amateur thinking. People who think that way will probably never have a lot of success unless they shift that mindset, because it's not about being at the top. I assure you that there's a lot of people at the top that are not making any money. I'm not kidding. A lot of people at the bottom that are doing much better than the people at the top. Why is that? Mindset, and they understand the process of duplicating coppers. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's jump into the art of the closing process. And it's all about engaging storytelling when you move forward further on this. But at this point, at this stage, you guys, you got to have your listening. You got to be focused on listening to what people are saying, and not even what they're saying, but to understand the nonverbal when you're connecting with them. And you can read a lot of this stuff with body language when you're in front of them, or you're on Zoom. You can read a lot about people based on what they're saying. And when you ask questions, you go so much further. I like to ask questions when I'm in the closing process. Okay, I'm going to throw some stuff at you. Like I mentioned, anybody who knows us, I'm not a script person. So I'm going to put a couple of things in front of you, because you can spend all your time handling objections. But if you start asking questions, you're going to open people up. That's the most important thing. So you want to write this one down. What questions do you need me to answer before we get you signed up and started today? It's very simple. I'm going to put them in the chat too, so you have them. Very, very simple. What questions do you need me to answer before we get you started and signed up today? Very simple. And that's when you zip it and let them talk. This is when they may throw some objections at you. Maybe they don't have the finances to start today, but they can start in 7 days. And that's the follow-up process for you. So yeah, so when you contact them back in 7 days, you're getting them started. Okay. So, and you could say based on everything that I've shown you, I know this would be a great business for you. Based on a conversation you might have had with them, you know that it's going to be great for them. How about we take 2 minutes to get you signed up right now? Don't be afraid to be bold in your business, because you know what? People are they're looking for that. They want confident, bold leaders. And if you don't have that posture up front, people may not want to partner with you. So get really comfortable on being very, very confident on what you have and where you're going with this, because people can read you just as much as you're reading them. Trust me on that. All right. So and that's basically a couple of things that you can use. I love the Eric Worre for closing question. Some of you might know that one, and I'll throw it in the chat when Chris is talking to the hypothetically, if you were to get started, how much money would you like to be earning? And they would put the number out. You make sure in your head you write it down, remember it or write it down. And then you ask them, how many hours are they willing to put in for them to be earning this kind of money? That's your second question. So you're actually qualifying them by asking them questions, right? So how much time would you be willing to put in for this to take place, for you to make 2,000? So they may say whatever it takes. They may say 6 months. They may say a year. And that way you have an idea of how realistic these people are as well. And then that's when you throw it in. If I can show you how to achieve, let's say they say $2,000 a month. If I can show you how to achieve $2,000 a month, and they said they're willing to put 20 hours a week into it, and with a year of focus, would you be ready to get started right now? Simple. This is all really, really simple stuff. Okay. Another thing that I want to share with you is what they're thinking when they're seeing a presentation or when you're presenting to them. There's 3 things that's going through their head that I want you to understand. And when you understand this, every question you ask or every story you tell will answer these questions. Okay? Does this really work? That's what they're thinking. If they're going to take the time and put the money in, does this really work? Right? The second one is, will it work for me? That's a big one. That's a huge one. I get goosebumps thinking of this because a gentleman sat me down in Canada years ago when I was very new in the industry. I'm going to share the third one with you, but I want to tell you the story because he brought this to me because he was an experienced networker. I'm a newbie. I didn't really know what I was doing. I did a trade show. He sat down with me and he taught me the greatest lessons I could ever learn in network marketing. And I'll never forget this man because he said these three things to me. When you're sitting down with somebody, the question number one, that the thing that's going through their head is, does it really work? Will it work for me? And number three is very, very important. It's, will I get the support? Will you be there for me if I decide to do this? That, if you can answer these three things in your conversations, and you know that you're there for them, they can do this, it's really working. If you can bring that into your closing sentences, you got them. You got them. You got to get them started now. You got to know the right words to say today, now, right now. Let's get you started right now. Okay. And then they'll make decisions right now. So if you take all of this that I just shared with you and you run with it, oh my gosh, you're going to be so excited. So in the chat, I'm just going to throw in this stuff, Chris, while you
Yeah,
do.
and while you're doing this, let me just kind of summarize quickly. So you see, Tammy talked about engaging storytelling. As she was sharing her story, I bet you were very engaged. I know I was. And then addressing the objections. That's exactly what she's talked about. And then the decision-making strategies. That's exactly what she's talked about. So these are the three aspects that are absolutely critical for you to start converting from a presentation to an enrollment. As we speak right now, folks, we're getting emails every time someone in your binary signs up somewhere, right? There's like 3 that just popped in as we're speaking, as we're doing this trainings. Some people are actually seeing this information, or it might be someone that's just doing the work right now. But these are all the things that gives people the sense of security that I can actually do this. It can work for me. And what you will find, Tammy, were you done on this slide?
Yeah. While you're talking and going to the next slide, I'm just putting out some
Okay,
of the,
cool.
yeah.
Okay. So what's going on here as Tammy is putting this in, now we're moving into the closing techniques. And that's exactly what Tammy was talking about, is to create an urgency. Establish a compelling sense of urgency by highlighting the limited time offers, which is the cash promotions that we currently have, and encourage immediate action. That's number one. That's what Tammy was referring to. Number 2 is highlight immediate benefits. One thing is having the insurance policy of having your data safe on the cloud. You may not realize it now, but I assure you that if you lose your data, it will hit like a ton of bricks. And the fact is, you want to emphasize that. What are the quick benefits, the quick wins, right? Joining now, right into other. For example, if you happen to be very active, you know how you build your business. And you say, listen, I have about 2 or 3 people that are about to make a decision. If you decide now, I will make sure that you're placed in before these 3 because they haven't signed up yet. You understand my meaning? That creates a sense of urgency. It's just an example of helping them make a decision. And folks, we're not talking about thousands of dollars investment here. We're talking about $100 for the year. For the year. I mean, think about it. It's not expensive. And then you look at the return. And again, you need to understand the comp plan with this. But if you understand this comp plan, folks, I'm telling you, there's going to be some very wealthy people in the future, in the near future. I'm not talking decades from now. I'm talking within the next year or 2. There's going to be some very wealthy people. Who's going to make it are the people that are sticking to it. The people that are showing up when nobody's there. They're still there. They're still doing the activities. They're still moving forward. And the next thing here, as you're sharing the benefits and everything, is use scarcity tactics where you create a sense of urgency by offering a time-sensitive opportunity. right? We talk about the cash incentives here, the contests, the fact that, for example, there's some people that chose not to come in away when I started. And now there's probably about 1,000 people from that time. And they're still plotting, I don't know if I want to spend $10 a month. It's okay. I'm not going to wait for them, but they missed out on that. So as you are sharing, and some of you have been in a business for, it's going over a year. Some might be 6 months. Some might be 18 months, like us, over 18 months, right? You're seeing the growth of what's going on. And if people understand what they have in their hands and you get them started right, when the year closes, they're not going to become suspended because they haven't paid for for the renewal, because they have information stored that they want to have access to for the rest of their lives. Do you understand how important that is? So it's important that you get people started right and they're connected to their cloud, so they have a sense of ownership. If they don't have that, folks, all the work you're doing today will fall apart over time. So what's happening here is, I know I'm shifting a little bit, but the point here is that you want to create a sense of urgency and what we're offering, the benefits. Often what I use example of our competitors like Dropbox. Dropbox doesn't pay you, but they do have 800 million users. So what's that going to happen when we have just a fraction of that? Considering that God Backup offers 75% of their profit revenue to the compensation plan. Folks, this is a lot of money. This is a lot of potential. How much of that you want, it's really up to how much you're willing to duplicate and work the business. So these are all the closing techniques, the arguments, the points that we bring forward that people have a very hard time saying no to. Back to you.
All right. So assumptive closing techniques, and that is body language, you guys. It's leaning forward, it's handshaking if you're in person, or just communicate on the fact that they're getting started. When you start talking like that, like they're getting in, and you're going to get them started right away. You're going to set up a session right away to get them informed on how to access their links. When you engage in that, you're engaging them in the decision, right? You're moving them forward in making that decision as well. And everything is about asking questions. Everything is about encouraging other people to share their feelings, share their thoughts, where they're at in their emotional state in wanting to get started, and to guide them to the yes. That's the key. Guide them to the yes. And you know what? That takes practice, you guys. Don't beat yourself up if this is all a new process for you. Don't worry and think about the things. What if it doesn't work for me? Don't worry about any of that. Just connect to the people. That's it. If the timing's not working for them, no matter what you say will not move them forward. Okay. So sometimes you just got to let go, let God, and just let things work the way they're supposed to work. And then always, having a positive reinforcement, positive phrases, when we get started. Again, let them know that you want to introduce them to your leader, like engaging people to know that they're part of something bigger than themselves in that two people conversation. That also helps with engaging people. So use whatever you can in the tools that we're giving you to help move people forward. That's the most important thing. If today doesn't work for them and 7 days works for them, that's moving them forward. Then you got to put it on your calendar, and that's your follow-up process. And you schedule that. Don't just say, oh, okay, 7 days, sure, I'll get back to you in around 7 days. No, schedule it. Okay, so what day works best for you, starting whatever day, and then you go into your calendar. People need to know that you build your business professionally. Okay, if you just let it fly in the air and just words, it goes nowhere. because people get busy. We all know that. People get busy and then they forget. All right. So you got to be in control of making the schedules work and then reminding them about the schedule. Again, that's part of the follow up process.
Yeah, and Tammy, I wanted to emphasize something that I do a lot is I utilize open-ended question,
Always.
right? So this type of question encourages the other person to share more about their thoughts. This is really important. Their feelings,
Mm-hmm.
their experiences, rather than just expecting, hey, are you ready? Expecting a yes or a no. When you get them part of the conversation, there's an expression that see people support what they create, people support where they can voice their concerns, their objections, whatever. This is really, really big. And that I would say constitute to 80 to maybe even 90% of the reason why I convert.
Yeah.
I always use open-ended question for them to expand what's in their heart in the process. And when you do that, you'll find that it's easier to convert because it's not you selling the pitch. It's themselves selling themselves based on the conversation that was initiated from the two of you. That's the key right there. Now, one thing that's important, and we talked about, okay, now is to help new recruits, right? To get started. That is so, so important, right? So, one thing that's really good, and I highly encourage, and many of you have done that, is when you have, and many of you don't, unfortunately. And sometimes I want to promote your personals, but they're not obviously within the sponsorship tree that I have. But I can't do this because it's disrespectful for me to start promoting one of your personals. But I'm telling you, do not hesitate on that. Go through your genealogy tree. Excuse me. Go through your back office of God Backup, not your genealogy tree, and select the what's the option, Tommy? The enrollment recognition enrollment. I forgot the exact title there, right? And from there, you can see a list of all the people that have reached a certain pin rank. The coppers are very important because the coppers is the building foundation. And make sure that you post them into your groups. Many of you, and I'm very proud of you for doing that, you have your own private WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook Messenger group, and maybe others. Okay, I'm just using the main three, the ones I'm using anyway. And from there, we also have the Telegram group of God Backup, which I really monitor all the things and make sure I monitor the negativity and the people that are trying to undermine the work of all of you here. I monitor all these things. But my point in saying here, folks, is if all of you would just participate in recognizing your people in that group and your respective group, what it creates a wave of positive reinforcement. And not only that, but you know an expression, and I said often, babies cry for it, adults die for it. Recognition is so important. We get so little of that in our society, so little of it. And this environment, this is what the affiliate world does not provide. This is what the network marketing world do provide, is to recognize your achievements. This is huge, right? And that will establish that welcome, that feel, that rapport, to feel part of the community. Really, really important. Having maybe a Zoom session, inviting your leaders to come in. And sometimes you may relate to your leader, maybe not. Whatever the situation may be, you may want to go up. You may want to, whatever the situation may be. Right here, for example, in this training that we're doing, right? Some of you are coming in and you may want to say, I want to congratulate so-and-so for doing this or doing that. In our presentations of Joel's, our Fridays, take an opportunity to recognize your personals. You know what's going to happen? One is they're going to show up. And two, they may not show up alone because obviously if there's other people, they witness, right, what's going on. So it's that synergy that creates a great following. Really important. The other thing is account setup. I don't know how many times people have gone into this business. Maybe they sign up to an email marketing strategy, whatever their thing is, and they have absolutely no clue what's going on in the community of God Backup. All they know is their sign up and the software they have, and many of them, they didn't install it. What's going to happen in a year from now or next month? They're not going to renew because they haven't, we mentioned that earlier in the process of closing, is they haven't sold themselves on the value of this service other than what they think they may get right now, which will evaporate in about 3 months or 2 months, whatever. So that's very important. Get them set up so to create an emotional connection of value immediately to the product. I cannot stress this enough, right? And then you need initial training setup. For example, if I shift here a little bit and I go back to this over here, right? We have a board, and this board is onboarding, right? So what happens here is getting started guide. There's all these steps in getting started. And next thing you know, the first 7 days, we want to make sure they can build their list. They learn how to prospect, inviting, following up, third party. And here's an action report, an action sheet report that they can go and start keeping track of what they're doing. I'm just going to take this for some of you that may want to keep that. I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. Okay. So these are all things that are very, very, very important in getting people started right. And this is what this slides represent. Make sure to install the software, create an emotional connection to the value of what they just bought into. And then we build the opportunity where the opportunity will share the vision, the big picture. You can move into this new community, this new home. You can live in this country. You don't even have to live in whatever, Canada or US or wherever you are right now. You can live in Thailand. I'm just giving you an example. I'm talking to my daughter here. You can, wherever you want, if you have an income that comes from a virtual opportunity like this, and you can even build your business wherever you happen to be in the world, because this business is global in 140 countries around the world, folks. Do you see what I'm doing right now? This is creating value for the opportunity. You are not stuck in one area. You can do what as you see fit. Where working in a job, there's nothing wrong with that, because I've done this too. But you are locked in with this within this environment with a very, as we know, limited income. Where some of you may have a bigger, but you understand what I'm talking about. When you work in this environment, it is night and day. And this is the kind of value that I create when I work with my personals. So they understand what they're into, because that's what we see. And we're living proof of it. We have 2 homes. Again, it's not to brag. To impress upon you, what I'm telling you is true. We have a beautiful waterfront property in Toronto. We have a beautiful waterfront property in Florida. Folks, they don't give these away. But because of this lifestyle, we've been able to do this. We're showing you or telling you can do the exact same thing. But it goes back down, helping your new recruits to get started, to really emphasize their success. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, so the part 2 is the engagement process. Once they know their tools, once they know how to get things set up, get their devices, everything uploaded, their belief, their confidence goes up. Now let's get them started. So obviously, anything that the company is doing, we plug people into company campaigns. Anything that the company has for contests, always support what the company's promoting. Always, always, always. And in between, when there's nothing happening, create your own. As Chris mentioned at the very beginning, it doesn't even have to be 30 days. You guys can have a 7-day rush within your organization, and having presentations 3 times a day for 7 days, and have different leaders in your organization that can take turns doing the presentation. And all people need to do is invite. That's it. Just invite a bunch of people to this. And so there's so many ways you can create your own campaigns. So don't always wait for other people to do things for you. Okay, when you bring people into your organization, you should be looking down and how can I serve? How can I serve? How can I help these people? Once you've developed the leaders within your organization, they're going to do things with their own organizations, right? So, which is exciting, because that's the power of duplication. All right, so 30-day drive, you want to get them started. So if you just signed somebody up yesterday or this week, then they should be plugged into what's happening right now for the rest of the campaign that's happening with the company. All right. It's never too late, because you never know. There's people that have come in the final week and became the number one. So don't allow them to think that they're too late, because they're not too late.
Mhm.
All right. They may have a lot of influence and bring a lot of people in. And then identify prospects, like helping people within their organization. Help their first people to get started. So it's not just about you recruiting; it's about you helping your people help their people, and it's going to be like that for a while. Okay, you're going to have to do some small things over and over and over again. Sometimes I get people that call me, go, "Oh my God, I get it. I get it, you guys." But some people have never done this before. You need to be patient. My mother always taught me, patient is a virtue. Patient, and I've grown up being very patient with people. I have a
I
high
agree.
tolerance of patience. And sometimes, you know what, you guys, when you're not patient, just step back, breathe, walk away from whatever work you're on, and come back to it with a fresh perspective, so you don't lose yourself in the process, because you don't want to lose yourself on anybody. Okay, so setting achievable goals. Did you see that, you guys? Setting achievable goals. You want to know what they want to achieve financially, like that 4 question that I shared with you. It is also part of a training, right? So at the beginning, you may use that four point question to get them into the business. Now you know that they want to make $2,000 and they're willing to put 20 hours a week, and they're going to give it a year to do that. And so now you know kind of their game plan, right? So now you show them what they need to do to achieve that. All right. And it's all getting people started, right? CAB, sign as many people as you can. That upfront money is what you're going to earn at the beginning until you start going up in the ranks. So you want to make sure people are actively sponsoring. Okay. It's not hard to bring somebody in for $10. Seriously. Seriously. It's not hard to bring somebody in for $10. And if they don't see it, move on. We're not in a convincing business at all. If it's not for them, next. I know regeneration, you were mentioning something earlier. If they're too busy, basically, if they're not interested, that's when you can ask for referrals. Now, if something, they can't look at it this month, but they want to look at it next month, they're not going to give you referrals because they're going to sign them up, right? But you can ask for referrals, absolutely, if somebody is not ready to come in the business. But these are the things you want to be actively doing within the people you just brought into your business. You got to keep them active. They're going to disappear. You're not going to hear from them for a few days. Guess what? A quick text. Hey, John, is everything okay? Hey, Mary, just following up. You need to have communication within your organization, because they may feel stuck. They may be frustrated, and they may be your diamond in the rough. And if you don't take care of them and help them pass the challenges that they might be having here often, right, is the way they feel, or think they're not doing it right, so they stop because they're not getting the results that they expected. I think setting the right expectation is really, really important when you get people started. Not everybody's going to say yes. They need to know that. Because if they have a list of 20 people, I remember my list, they all said no to me, my whole list, when I first started. And I'm here, right? Is because I had the training to set me up that not everybody's going to say yes. So I kept going. I kept going until people started to say yes. And then my confidence built. Over time, you become leader and you're training people. That is called normal. And no, honestly, you guys, no means not now, number one, or you haven't created enough value. But as you grow and as you learn skills, you're going to see that your value that you bring into it with lots of practice will exceed most people who have given up, obviously. right? So constantly practice. I'm always saying that to people. You've got to constantly practice until you get people saying, more people saying yes. So your ratio, they say 1 out of 10. Well, some people can 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10. It's because they have the experience. Okay. So you work on that.
So, in moving forward, folks, as we're coming close to the end of our session here, it's important to really focus. You can see how many slides we're talking about helping new recruits to get started. And by the way, I'm sharing our cloud, I mean, our board here and everything else. Uh, I understand that you can create your own, but my advice is until you start earning an income that can sustain a portion of your lifestyle, I recommend that you follow the instructions of folks that are actually living on this full time at the moment. So you don't waste all your time managing, because managing 10 people, it's not going to do much for you. And you're going to get discouraged after putting all this time in an hour and thinking, well, this is not working for me. Now that's not true. You just focused your time in the wrong area in this stage. So I recommend you take advantage of some of the training material that we have available for you here and use it as a reference. If you want to create your own, because you want to create your own kind of ecosystem for your own people, that is totally fine. But let's pay attention to what's written here, right? Training material, comprehensive training material equipped with knowledge, allowing effective engagement in the prospecting process. So what's causing this? Well, WhatsApp group, Telegram group, Facebook Messenger group, communication, making sure people are in tune with what's happening, right? There's some folks that they don't want their team to be outside of their own little cage, their own little ecosystem. The problem with that is your team do not see bigger than what you are provided, which what you provided could be in some way maybe limited. I don't know. I'm just giving you some example from our experiences. And the fact here is, if I know some people fear that, well, if they get exposed to too many leaders and too many things, too many that, they may leave with these people. Yes, that happens. But what I found is Tammy and I seem to be really in a good space with all our leadership. Why? Because they're well nurtured. And by being well nurtured, they are getting success. They're getting paid. They're moving up in rank. Who wants to walk away from something like that? So I'm telling you, don't fear the competition. Embrace the competition so you can be better than the competition. Okay? So training material is very important. Mentoring opportunity, right? You can pair members with experienced mentors. And again, use your common sense with that, right? You want to be in a kind of the same line of sponsorship, make sure that this is done correctly. But the fact here is that you want to create culture and support. You don't want to dictate your team like a dictator. Dictatorship is a dying breed. Look at the countries around the world that are working in dictatorship. They're not doing so well. It's not something that people are interested in anymore. People are interested in freedom, the freedom of speech, to be able to express yourself. And I understand that comes with a price sometimes, but this is the kind of community that we've evolved into. Dictatorship does not do well. I remember in the 80s when we started this business, I saw dictatorship in our upline, and it did not do well. These folks today, they're completely gone. They're vanished. So it's important that you have mentorship, but give people space to breathe and to evolve. Really, really important. And the thing is that encourage communication, collaboration. See, we have a wonderful Telegram group with GBU, with God Backup, and there's probably about 5% that participate. I would really, really encourage you to participate more so your downline sees your participation, even if you have your own groups. So the rest of the world can see what you're up to, and you can lead by example in the same time. So it's important to have this kind of community, right, to help your new recruits kind of evolve. Training material. Tell them what the stuff is, as I just did earlier by pointing you in the right area to help people get started. Do some mentoring session. You don't have to be a professional mentor. You just have to be been experienced enough to understand what we're involved into and help them see the big picture and create community within your organization. That's how you grow an organization. So there are kind of four parts to this. So Tammy, you go ahead with this one.
Yeah. So commitment clarity is to clearly outline commitment expectations to your members and emphasize the importance of successful performance and growth. And that is basically the four benchmarks, you guys, is just get people focused and committed to doing the benchmarks. And the simpler you keep this, the faster everybody is going to grow. When you overwhelm people based on experience that you might have, wanting people to see your experience or whatever, at the end of the day, you hurt your business if you don't keep it simple. Okay, it's so simple on how to go up the ladder with this, but you got to start with getting them to commit to the benchmarks. Commit to the first one. Bring one on the left, one on the left, one on the right. That commitment, that's a celebration, you guys. So, and also engagement in incentives, and you can do some personal incentives to your personals. Obviously, you can't do it for everybody, right? But if there's something small that you can do for your personal that's hit some good targets, yeah, if you do it too early in the game, there's so much expectation, I find. We've had so many years of experience. Just a recognition, these flyers are so important to people. If you can engage in stuff like that with your people, recognize people who come on and consistently show up to the trainings, to the opportunity presentations, the ones that are bringing the guests, all this recognition, and it creates a lot of excitement. Okay, and people will engage more when you bring them into that community. As Chris said earlier, we've always said that is people support what they create, and when you make them part of it, like we love it when you guys are constantly on the chat here and adding more value to a training. This is fantastic. It's fantastic because you might have learned something that, a question that you could ask somebody that we haven't. I noticed Kim put a couple of things in there earlier. Fantastic. This is amazing. So you want to create that within the culture that everybody has a voice. We want everybody to spread their wings. We want to celebrate everybody on their journey. And so creating that ongoing support framework, establishing ongoing system, which is, prospecting, inviting, following up, getting them to do that with their organizations, getting people started right. People have to use the tool, you guys. I'm blown away when I talk to people talk to members for somebody else's people, and they haven't even had the first steps of training. So it's so important to do those fundamentals. You want to have a strong organization, you need to lead in doing these fundamentals. If you can't do these fundamentals, you got to learn them yourself first so that you can teach this within your organization.
I totally agree, Tammy. And folks, on the last slide here, we want to talk about the takeaways. And at the end of the day, it's important that you keep things simple, right? It's important that people feel they can achieve the goal. There's a reason why the copper is defined. It's the reason why all the way down to black diamond, you just need to have 4 on your left, 4 on your right. Right. And there's a reason that for you to move up in rank, really what you need to do if you're focused on this is to produce coppers. The more coppers that you have within your sponsorship team, the more you move up in rank. The more you move up in rank, the more the compensation plan becomes generous towards your activities. It's really where this goes. So, and what we talked about as a summary here, the key takeaway, is mastering the close. Focus on using stories, addressing concerns, and employing effective closing techniques that we just talked about. And Tammy, I don't know if you have this as a PDF, but the examples of some of your questions, we can post them into the comment
Yeah,
in the
I'll
video.
create a doc and
Yeah, we'll
make
put
it
them in
a
there.
PDF. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Nice for you to access.
Mhm.
The other aspect we
Chris,
talked
why
about.
don't I add it just so you know? I'll put it in the section where you have the 4 trainings. I'll add the document in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll put them in there.
Mhm.
Okay. So from there, moving forward is onboarding new recruits. We spent quite a bit of time on that, right? Ensure that the new recruits are set up for success with the proper guidance and resources. It is so important. Support is critical. Now, you don't want to create an environment of kindergarten, because if you do too much and you mother too much, it's just an expression here, or father too much, what happens is your team becomes accustomed and associate, and they expect that all the time. This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about breeding leadership. This training, it's about breathing leadership. So we're giving you constants and concepts for you to develop your tools based on these strategies. Very important. So there's a difference between babying your team and breeding leadership. And the last point is finishing strong, folks. So we're halfway through the month. So we did these 3 segments of the first 10 days, second days, and the third 10 days prior to finishing the month. So we have plenty of time to really start pushing. Now is the time to push. And remember that every month you can take a break, after this one, or if you haven't started or you missed out or you just start, you can start in November, in September, and where are we here? October, August, September, right? And from that point on, you can go back to the trainings and listen to them. You can have you can listen to them, take your own notes, and do your own trainings. It's entirely up to you. But the final 10 days are crucial, right? So use this time to make the final sales and help your new recruits in getting started right, right? Ground them to start for them to run, to start building, not in 2 weeks from now, not in a month from now, because I assure you that in a month from now, something else will get in the way and they won't do it. The sense of urgency for them to start now is absolutely critical. We cannot stress this enough. So this concludes our segment of the training here, folks. And we hope that you got some good insight from that. And again, we recommend that you listen to these trainings over and over, because there's a lot of information that Tammy and I have shared based on our, 30 some years of experience in building this kind of business. Probably 28, 29 full time. I don't remember anymore. My point in saying is there's a lot of information that we shared that might have passed right by because at the time you didn't see the value into it. Where now that you're starting to do this activity, the value is starting to increase. It's becoming more apparent. And by listening to these trainings again, you're going to say, oh, yeah, I didn't pick up on that at the first time, because you didn't go through the process to see the value of what we were sharing. That's why re-listening to these trainings is absolutely critical. And please, if you like anything that we've shared in any of those trainings, click the like button, folks. Just share the love and put some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Okay? So that matters to us. So tell me, what are your last thoughts as we end here?
Just focus on helping your people. That's the most important thing. When you're new in this business, it's about you. It's exciting. I got started. But once you sign your very first person, it's no longer about you anymore. Like I mentioned, you guys, people really, when they join because they believe you can help them. And if they feel disappointment, then you're going to lose them. So it's, get people started right. Go through the closing process, like we shared with you. I don't like to say the word close, because what you're really doing is opening them up to an opportunity that can literally change their stars. I know it's happened for us in the industry. And of course, Got Back Up is very new. So how many months now, Chris, for us? It's been
Well, it's definitely crossing 18 months. Definitely.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we started in May, around mid-May. And so yeah, it's still new. We're still growing, and we haven't, like, we just starting to take some momentum within the organizations. So imagine all of the skill sets you guys are learning that you can apply within your organizations, and let's see where you're going to be in a year from now. It's so exciting. I love it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for your wonderful feedback, folks. You were very generous. Really appreciate that. Again, hit that like button. Remember that the algorithm of YouTube, if people like the video, they tend to show it more. And we want to share the wealth. We want to show people that God Backup is a place to be. It's a beautiful home. It's a great place to build and earn an income. So again, your feedback, your voice matters. So keep that in mind as you keep listening to trainings that are provided by the God Backup teams. Okay, everybody. So have yourself a great weekend. Remember that every Wednesdays, Joel is presenting at 8 o'clock Eastern. If you happen to be living in a different time zone, you can always go back to the recording. Every Fridays, 11 o'clock, we do our presentations. And Saturdays, we continue our trainings at 10 o'clock. And I know there's many other presentations offered in many different languages by incredible leaders that are rising the ranks. So have yourself a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.